Hello, all you big, beautiful brains out there. Today, we're talking about the business that started it all for Harry Hollingworth. Before we get started, take a minute to subscribe to Psy vs. Psy. Help out your friendly neighborhood psychologist while I tell you all about how Harry Hollingworth might be influencing you right now. Picture it. 1909, and you're a government official on an all-night stakeout on the Tennessee state line. Your mission? To stop a truck full of a substance that the government has deemed so incredibly damaging and potentially toxic to anybody that consumes it that it has to be stopped before it can make its way out into the American population. What illicit substance can be just so dangerous, so addictive, that it has to be stopped? Well, caffeine, of course. That dangerous vehicle, well, it was a Coca Cola truck. Over 100 years later, it sounds really weird to us. After all, we're in the era of people drinking Red Bull or Monster Energy with breakfast. But at the time, the government was so seriously concerned about the addictive qualities and bodily consequences of consuming too much caffeine, especially since it was a product largely being marketed to little kids. Coke wasn't going to go down without a fight, and they had one big problem. Most of the research on caffeine up to that point had been done on animals, not people. With the U.S. government threatening to take them to court, they needed evidence fast that their product wasn't doing serious, long-term harm to the human brain. So, they called on the best of the best, James Cattell. He was perfect, a distinguished researcher at an Ivy League school who not only had a track record of studying human intelligence, but was also one of the scientists who had helped legitimize psychology as a science in the first place. And he promptly said, no. Cattell felt that it would damage his reputation to take money from a big corporation like that. Looking back on some of Cattell's other contributions, Coke might have been better off without his support. But it was a major blow at the time, until, that is, the hero of our story comes along. Enter Harry Levi Hollingworth. He had been a graduate student under James Cattell, and like a lot of us in academia, wasn't shy to jump on an extra job whenever they came his way. When Coca Cola approached Hollingworth about doing caffeine studies on humans, he took one look at his bank account and said, yes. He would later claim that at the time, he was so new to the sciences, he didn't really have any kind of reputation to ruin. The experiments he ran for Coca Cola were so fast, so good, and so conclusive that they actually made Hollingworth a sought-after researcher. He approached all the work he did for Coke as a scientist first, and that was pretty revolutionary and really ethical of him. First, he made sure his contract stated that Coca-Cola wouldn't use his research in any of their ads. Next, he also demanded that his work be allowed to be published, no matter the outcome. That was a really huge gamble for the company. Remember, Coca-Cola didn't really know at the time the effects caffeine had on the human brain. That's why they needed Hollingworth. His work could indicate that their product was going to do serious damage, and they might be paying for it in more ways than one. Lastly, Hollingworth made sure that the experiments he designed for Coca-Cola were pretty irrefutable. All three of the studies he designed had blind and double-blind conditions, and he duplicated all of his data at a separate research facility. Not only was his work way better than it really needed to be to fulfill his obligation to Coca-Cola, it showed that scientists could reasonably work for companies with their dignity, ethics, and scientific reputation intact. He set the stage for corporations working with psychologists to better not only their products, but humanity, and all of our lives in general, which became the backbone for the field of industrial organizational psychology. We owe Hollingworth a lot, whether you're a psychologist or if you just really like Coke. If you want to know more about how psychologists might have changed what we eat and drink today, make sure you subscribe to Psy vs. Psy so you can get all of our other videos and you can learn all about the science of psychology. Until next time, keep thinking, and I'll see y'all later. Bye! Here's a list of things that were totally legal at the time the government was worried about caffeine. Opium, cocaine, alcohol for all ages, marijuana, amphetamines, and basically everything that existed up to that point, since drug laws, other than taxes, didn't exist until 1909.